welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from Dadex, and today we're in the Tristan, a very handsome Tristan, in my opinion anyway. That's the chromodynamic candy skin. It looks pretty cool, I think, on the Punisher as well. But anyway, that's enough of that malarkey for those that care. In the top slots, we fitted two Railguns, two 125mm Prototype Gauss Gun, two of them, which give us a 12km fall off and a 6.5km optimal. We got some Caldari Navy antimatter. I've also got some regular antimatter. We'll see what we need. In the mid slots, we've got an enduring afterburner. We've got an enduring web, and just bear in mind with the web, if you overheat it, you get an extra 3km range. If you're having trouble ever getting something quite into your web range, do that. Overheat it for one cycle. You can usually drag them in. The lead acid compact batteries, adding about a third onto our capacitor capacity, which is very handy. We've got the compact drone damage control amplifier. That's giving us 17% boost to our drone damage, which is good. We've got the enduring small armor repairer. And to boost the resistances on the explosive side, we have an experimental enduring explosive resistance hardener. That gives us 42% bonus to our explosive resistance, the weakest resistance in an armor tank. And even though the site penalty here is to thermal resistances, I think our explosive resistances are so low we have to do something. In the rigs, the semiconductor memory cell is going to give us 15% more capacitor, and we've got two auxiliary nano pumps, each giving us 15% boost to our armor repair amount, which is very good. And because I've got the rigging skill trained up, the armor rigging skill, the drawback is reduced to 7%, and the drawback is reduced power grid need for the armor repairer itself and any other relevant armor modules. So remember, if you're having trouble with fits, look at your jury rigging skills and the specific rigging skills that will cut the downsides of the rigs that you're using. Right, the drones, of course, we're in a Tristan. We've got 8 warriors dealing that sweet thermal damage as required for the Firestorm site. They provide about 60% of our DPS. With the Caldari Navy antimatter ammo, we get just over 103 DPS. With the regular antimatter, it's 97. And of that, 62 DPS is the drones. And that fit comes in at about 3.5 million ISK. That shows a little bit high in that fitting screen because I actually didn't realise I had a compact magnetic field stabiliser in the cargo hold. So that added about 500,000 onto the price shown. Anyway, we've not got much base armour at all. We've got a big old capacitor and we've got a repper. And the idea is, obviously, with the Tristan, we don't have to get in too close. We're going to let the drones hopefully do most of the work. We have to be protective of them, of course. Remember, I'm forming a fleet with myself here and flying out to my little safe spot here in lovely sunny Metzerel. So, with the Tristan, we've got the railguns. We don't have to get in too close, and the guns are obviously secondary DPS. When we get in, we will shoot. But if we can stay out of range and get no damage off the rats, that would be kind of cool. If the drones can handle it by themselves, we've got that option. However, we're not quite cap stable. I think it said about 7 minutes cap with everything running on that fitting screen, and the site's not going to last that long, so in effect we're cap stable. And remember, we get those little breaks in between each room to have a breather, recharge whatever we need to recharge anyway, so we're pretty much cap stable for the effects of this site. So in we go. Remember, we could be bringing a couple of mates with us, but we don't need to, which means we get the 3 times bonus loot all to ourselves. And remember, the Firestorm site effects are going to give everything 50% extra armor, and they're going to reduce everybody's thermal resistances. So, onwards and upwards. Right, who have we got? The Lucid Aegis. We remember him, was it the Merlin found one of these guys? He's probably going to start shooting at us about now. So we're going to get the Afterburner on. Oh, there you go, right on cue. We're going to just head straight towards the gate, although that was straight at him, so that's not a good idea. I didn't realise he was between me and the gate, so we're going to head over there to get a bit of traversal going. He doesn't really seem to get much damage on us at this kind of range. Now, we're going to be very, very mindful and protective of our drones. They are our main DPS. We've got 3 spare ones, but I'm not going to be as free and easy as I've been in the past with the Bellicose and the Caracal, where they're, well, in the Caracal they're the box poppers, and in the Bellicose they're kind of the secondary DPS. For those of you wondering why I've got the armor repper on and why I'm messing about overheating it, is because if you ever have those days when you fly 11 different ships with 5 different alts and then you hear an alarm go off and you see some red, sometimes you just start hitting your repper. Sorry. I'm not in a shield tank ship, but that was a good little drill. I did well there. Anyway, the lads are out. We need to open the window and just see how they're getting on, because I can't even monitor them. I'm being a little bit slapdash. They could be getting absolutely beaten up. So sorry, drones. In fact, one of them is in shield. That was a little bit remiss of me. So just pull that drone in that's getting the aggro. Once he's in, just put one more drone out. And I do faff about a little bit trying to get them back into the group. But anyway, you can see what this guy's doing to us. You can see his resistances. You can also see that, quite thankfully, I've just literally flown away and left the drones to it. He can't touch us now. The drones seem to be managing. There's the stats for the Aegis. He's dead. We're alive. The drones are all alive. And we can get the loot box. So look, he did start on the second drone. He's a little bit naughty. Be careful. Obviously, the shield on the drones have their own passive regen, just like you do, over time. So their shields will rep up. But we've got a couple, got a little bit dented. But we're fine. We'll be a little bit more careful in the next room. That's the other problem. It's not a problem, but I don't have a room to myself to hide in and do all this stuff in. There's stuff going on and distractions. Much like many of you, I should think. Anyway, let's see if we got any loot that's worth talking about, shall we? Come on, loot box. I don't know. But I'm not really here for the money. This is quite a good little experiment. I'm enjoying this. I keep going on about that point. But I also think for the skills and the expense that you need to put into your ship, maybe to get in here and through this, then it's better money than some of the other things you might be doing with yourself. And the reason I brought this down, this is the lowest DPS ship, remember, that we brought in. It's got the lowest hit points. It's obviously got kind of a mega active tank that can go on forever, but we've still got to be reliant on us being able to out-rep the damage that's incoming. 3 more filaments for the pile. That's very good. They're still not been seeded. They're still in very short supply. So again, CCP, come on, at the weekend or something, just chuck a few out as a login gift. The other thing I'm going to repeat, and I can't stress it enough, look, the spawns are quite random. I'm sure I haven't seen them all yet. I know there are spawns that by the end of this video you still won't have seen, but I have. I'm not going to talk about them because they're in other footage that you will be seeing soon. But just because I can get through one run of 3 rooms with a ship doesn't mean we might not hit a spawn that kills it. Now that, as far as I'm concerned, is a case with every tier of the Abyss, no matter what ship you're flying. Unless you're very, I don't know, well equipped or very fortunate, there can be a spawn that is just going to catch you out one way or the other. Whether your drones will get munched and all your DPS is gone or something like that. And talking of which, right, what's going on here? Let's get back on script. But yeah, sometimes you will fail, I think, in the Abyss, and the more you're kind of pushing your luck anyway, the more likely you are to fail. We've got a couple more of our little drone frigate friends. We know they're not much of an issue. The drones are out and after them. I'm just going to come in so I can start applying some railgun damage, but it's hardly my priority. The drones seem to be doing a very good job themselves, but now we've got the web on them, so they get slowed down, so the application will be better. But these little drone frigates, they don't seem to be much of a worry. They are quite fast, but not the fastest thing we've seen, but they don't seem to be doing us much damage. And of course, in these tier 0 sites, there are no EWAR effects that I've seen whatsoever, and I'm pretty sure there are none. I mean, there are very few in tier 1. It's tier 2 where it starts getting hectic on the EWAR. But again, one of the drones is getting a bit of aggro, so we'll just pull him in. He's getting a little bit more aggro as he flies back in. We'll just leave it at 4 drones. That's plenty. He's down anyway. So when you've got bigger ships, I don't know if any of you have ever done it, but I've seen Gilas, etc. with armor repairers in the top slot just to top the drones up when they're out roaming or etc, etc, because obviously the armor's not going to get repped any other way. But we're doing okay. I don't use drones a lot, and I'm sure that at some stage I will do a bit more of the drone boats because they're quite fun to use, and maybe just a little guide of the drone usage. I had fun on the hunt in a drone boat Algos. That was probably the most hectic, I nearly said drastic. It was certainly hectic drone management I've ever had to do. I was rotating drones, I think, continuously through the whole site. I managed to keep enough alive to win the fight in the last room. But yeah, that was really fast and furious stuff for me. I've seen guys that can rotate drones in and out their drone bay like no one's business. It's kind of mad to watch. Also bear in mind that quite often I haven't got drones showing on my overview because in some of the situations I get into, that creates an instant cloud of clutter on the overview. So if I need to be aware of drones, I'll switch onto the one that shows them if I want to be hitting the other players' drones. Otherwise I don't really need to know too much about them in general. Oh, and we had a suggestion or a question in after the last video of could we salvage, because we got so much time in here. And I forgot when I initially answered the comment, but there are actually no wrecks in the Abyss. No wrecks are created. The reason I didn't think of that is a similar one that on my normal overview I'm using here wouldn't show wrecks anyway. That is more to do with clutter on the D-scan than clutter on the overview. So wrecks and drones quite often won't be appearing on what you can see on my overview, even though they're kind of in play, if you see what I mean. So we're all sorted, we've got a bit more loot. We're on to the next room. That was absolutely no stress, that room. What can the third one hold? It can all go wrong yet, and it sometimes does. Right, we have got a striking Dramovic who likes to throw thermal damage, mostly all in our face. In fact, about 67% I think thermal damage. Will check his stat screen, and then a bit of explosive damage just to hit our weakest resistance too. So let's see, and remember his entropic disintegrator weapon builds up damage as it's hitting you, so you have to watch out for that. So we'll get the drones in. We're going to keep a very close eye on the drones because I think they could take a beating quite quickly off this guy if he aggro's on them rather than us. I'm going to cut the orbit in from 10 kilometers to 7.5 to make sure he's in web range. There he goes. I'm not going to bother overheating it. We're in no overheating situation here whatsoever. So let's see how we can settle in here. We're going to go into 5 kilometers now, which should take us inside the optimal on our railguns, so their damage will go up a little bit, but I'm pleased to say we're taking all the aggro. There's two ways of protecting your drones from aggro. You can pull the whole flight in so the aggro flicks back to you because there's no drones for the enemy to target. However, that obviously drops all of their DPS, so the reason I'm rotating one drone in and out at a time is so I've got the other 4 fighting the whole time. You don't want those drops in DPS when your drones are your DPS. Not when you're under any kind of pressure. So we're doing alright here. We're repping very nicely. We're down into half armor, but the guy's almost dead. So the damage was definitely ramping up off of his little machine. And I will be displaying the combat log somewhere on the screen from the next footage that I record onwards. Somebody asked for that in a comment. So yeah, that's quite a good idea, just so you can get a measure of what's going on. I'll leave that just in a corner somewhere, and if one of you or any of you want to review that in a video, you certainly can. So the drones came out of that as shiny as they went in. We got down to half armor at one stage, but that was no real concern, to be honest with you, because the guy was almost dead by then. And as I've said to you in the other videos, the thing you have to do when you're in these situations, whether it's PvP fight or this kind of PvE fight that you can't get out of because you're scrammed by the other player, or in this case it's just not an option, the key thing you have to be able to do is just keep your cool and just measure his incoming damage against your outgoing damage. And as long as you feel he's going to die before you do, just keep your cool and keep doing what you're doing. If that's not the case and he's damaging you quicker than you're damaging him and you're going to die first, then that's where we need to figure out very quickly what adjustments we need to make, whether it's pulling range, getting in closer, speeding up, slowing down, overheating, everything at once, or just closing your eyes and hoping for the best. Anyway, we have cleared another site. As I say, guys, this is the cheapest fit I've used. It's the lowest statistically blessed fit that I've used. The Incursus and the Merlin both had about 160 DPS plus. This guy, in fact, I didn't mention it, from the second room onwards I was using the standard antimatter ammo, so this guy has had 98 DPS for the last 2 rooms. But who knows what we might meet in a room one day that we just haven't maybe got the DPS to kill, or we have an issue with. It is, as I say, always a possibility, and that pressure is one of the things I do kind of like about the Abyss. And to be able to put yourself in that kind of situation pretty much on demand from very early on in your EVE career, I think is a very good one, especially as you can now do it in like a 4.5 mil ship, or maybe even cheaper, we don't know yet. So yeah, I think this is a welcome addition to the game for me. Right, we'll have a little tot up on the loot, but you know that's not my main concern. The way the prices are now, I've got about 4 million in tranquil filaments there, but that's showing us 3.2 million, and I'm quite happy with that. One more site and we're in profit on the whole cost of the ship. If you want to look at it like that. But there you go, guys, the Tristan has done it. Mission accomplished. I hope you've enjoyed this and found this interesting. I will remember to paste the fit into the video. I might not do it immediately it publishes, but I will do it as soon as possible. It depends on whether I leave this uploading when I go to bed or not. Leave us a like if you've liked it, guys. Any comments, feedback, suggestions, always very welcome. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch. Remember, even is believing. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, but for now, fly brave and goodbye.